to the film of Ole Miss. What are your thoughts on Matt Corral, their quarterback, and also with Elijah Moore being out, what are some of the receivers that maybe look ready to step up in that, given that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Matt Corral's phenomenal. I mean, I think he does a great job of extending plays and extending drives. I think his ability to look defenders off and make deep throws downfield is about as good as I've seen. I think he's very well coached in that, and they do a great job schematically and pushing the ball downfield, and he executes it well. I think what makes him so dynamic, his ability to extend plays and to extend drives by getting first downs, be it in the zone read game where he keeps it off the run, and certainly in their passing game, his ability to scramble and get first downs and move the chains and pockets. Those things can be very frustrating for a defense, and so we got to do a great job of making sure that we limit his explosives, certainly in the passing game, but just as importantly, what he does in terms of his ability with his feet. I think, you look at some of their receiving core and they've got a number of guys that they get the ball to and do a great job. Elijah Moore was as explosive as a player as we've seen this season, and glad that we're not going against him, but they are not they're not at a loss of other explosive playmakers.
All right, Tom, then Kevin.
And I asked Tom earlier in his 4 years here of what he's gotten better at as being a head coach, and the first thing he mentioned was delegating. And obviously, you're the one now who has to sort of stir that sauce of his defense. Can you share with us some of the best or most or different types of moments that you have had to deal with, and Tom handing you things and maybe not handing them all the way sometimes?
Yeah, I've talked about that before. Just I think the first year that I was here, getting adapted to how we do things, and then as we as Tom turned the reins over to me defensively, and I thought a year ago, finding that blend of what I envisioned the defense and what he envisioned the defense, and kind of finding that blend together is good. And there were some things that I thought on the early part of the 2019 season really had to work through and have, tough conversations back and forth. This is what we see, and kind of going back and forth. It was really, it was good, and we were close, and I think it's kind of brought us closer together in going through those things and truly building a system that we both feel very comfortable about. But again, I said, kind of that aha moment for me was how do I be the defensive coordinator for this program that Tom Allen envisions, and not the one that I envision myself. And I think that's important. And it's a great lesson to learn. And as I move into being a head coach, I'm glad that was a lesson that I got to learn. So that can be something that I'm able to kind of communicate and work through with my coordinators and assistant coaches, is ultimately, as the head coach, there's a vision that has to be cast from top to bottom, and everybody has to buy into that vision. Not that everybody won't put their own spin and creativity upon that, right? That's what makes unique individuals into a team. But at the same time, understanding that vision all has to be seen from top down, and everybody has to execute that vision in their role. And I think that's probably one of the things that I've learned best in my time here.
Was there any one specific moment, though, King, that maybe something you had to fight for that turned into a longer talk than you thought might have been?
Yeah, I think there were some things coverage-wise on the back end, and again, it was not necessarily a push and pull talk against Tom and I, but I think we really evaluated what we have done in the past defensively, and based off of our personnel, how to maximize our personnel on the back end. We talked about, historically we were a little bit more of a man aggressive defense. And I think as we evaluated ourselves through, the Purdue game last season, and saw some of the things that we did well in that game and saw some of our issues, a lot of it came from man coverage, both penalties that we had, on on the front end, we were creating pressure, but the quarterback was getting the ball out of his hand quicker. And so we really kind of evaluated that moving into the Tennessee game. And I thought we really kind of came together of feeling like this is a plan that we both just really believe in and what we need to do moving forward. And I think we executed it pretty well in that Tennessee game and have just carried that on into the season. So certainly I thought that bowl game was a defining moment that shaped this season in terms of what we do schematically.
All right, Kevin, then Griffin.
Yeah, Coach, you allude to Moore and Yeboah was out also in their last game, and they still put up 40-something points on LSU. What does that speak to the offensive talent that they still have, and also Coach Kiffin as a play caller, and how much you're looking forward to that kind of chess match?
Yeah, I think it's a great challenge. I mean, it speaks to Matt Corral and how talented he is, and he's the guy that makes it go. At the end of the day, they've got explosive playmakers on the outside. With or without Elijah Moore, obviously, I'm sure they would all love to have him, right? And he's a great player, but they've got some other guys that they can get the ball to. And then I think it speaks to the creativity that Coach Kiffin and Coach Lebby both have. I think they've found a great blend of what both of those guys have done in the past and their backgrounds. And they find ways to maximize their personnel, whoever's on the field. I thought the LSU game was a great example of, not having a tight end and a wide receiver that are both explosive and have made plays for you all season long. And they found a way to feature other players. They'll do the same in this game, and we got to find a way to adjust and stop it.
Griffin, then Zach.
Hey, Kanye, you've talked about the explosiveness of the Ole Miss offense. What's the importance of the D-line bringing pressure and also stopping the run game on Saturday?
Well, I think it's critical. I think that's where the game will be won and lost, is our ability to, force them to be one-dimensional and not be able to bleed us in the run game, because they're committed to it. They're going to run the ball. We talk about explosive offenses, and you think, well, that just means that they're going to, Mike Leach push the ball downfield every single play. That's not how this offense runs. That's not what that Art Briles and some of those system and kind of how they've spun off of that system, what they do. They do a great job of establishing a run to set up their deep shot play action game. And I think, from our end, we've got to do a great job of not only stopping the run, but we've also got to stop the quarterback scrambles. And so that means that we got to do a great job of creating pressure. And when we do create pressure, we've got to find a way to get Corral on the ground. And so that's something that we've worked very hard at and have to go execute on game day. It'll be a good challenge for us.
All right, Zach, then John.
Hey, Kane, sorry, you've kind of touched on it in a couple different ways. I think in particular talking about Matt Corral, but obviously Moore's out of this. I think Yeboah is out. I think they both opted out. And there's also been a pretty strong suggestion that Ely and Sanders, if they're going to play, won't be very healthy and may not be able to play. I mean, just how do you get ready for the team where probably a lot of the film you're digesting from a skill player's perspective may not be fresh because you're just seeing a lot of guys on the field that, either they're not going to play Saturday, or if they do play, they're probably going to be pretty limited.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know on some of those things, and some of those things you're guessing. I can try to pull out the Oxford Eagle newspaper, every morning and see what I can find out and all those things. But you have to prepare for those guys. I think, again, I go back to that LSU game, when you had two feature players that did not play in that game, and they found ways creatively to get other playmakers the ball. Again, if there's other guys that are going to be out, then, we have a plan to assess, who the next guy is and who they may feature. And fortunately for them, they've got a long list of guys that they can do that with, and explosive playmakers that they can get the ball to. So for us, those are things that you have to be ready for. You have to be prepared for. Bowl games are always a different dynamic because teams have a chance, just like we did after Purdue a year ago, to go back, reevaluate, self-scout, see what we did well, see the things that we need to improve, and then make those adjustments in this game. And even though we don't have quite the same amount of time we normally would upon a bowl game, I think, you're going to see those things from both sides of the ball, probably them and us.
All right, John, then Paul.
You guys talked about the beginning of the season, moving Jamar Johnson back to safety, just give him an opportunity to make so many more plays because he's just reading everything from back there. I mean, one of the highlights I think of is the Master Teague one where he ran over Master Teague and sacked Justin Fields. But I mean, basically what you envisioned, is it kind of come to fruition this year in terms of what you thought he could do, or has he surprised you in any ways? Thanks.
Yeah, I think probably when you go back and you look at this season, one of the best things that we've done is be able to utilize our personnel and maximize our players and personnel on the field given the situation. I've certainly made plenty of mistakes in my career, and I'll make others, but moving Jamar to that free safety position certainly wasn't one of them. That was one that we kind of hit big on. And then his ability to go play the Husky position along with Taiwan as a complement to Fitzy over there has been huge for us as well. And something, that we were planning on doing even with Lino, if Lino had not been injured at the beginning of the season. But still their ability to move in those positions from the free safety position with Jamar and Taiwan at the Husky position or corner, both of those guys moving to different that nickel position and being able to do some things for us was really huge. And so maximizing personnel is the name of the game. You got to find a way to get the right people on the field for the right situation. This week will be a great challenge to that because of the tempo that Ole Miss works on. And so we got to do a great job of finding creative ways to make sure we maximize our personnel and scheme.
All right, Paul, and then we'll wrap with Stefan.
Hey, Coach, two quick questions for you. First off, what has this week been like for you? Have you given yourself an opportunity to reflect on the fact that your last game at IU against Ole Miss? And second of all, what Jonathan King mean to you guys in that defense?
Sorry, you were kind of cutting out a little bit there, but I think it was just reflecting back on the Ole Miss game first.
Yes.
And that being my last game here. Is that? Okay.
Yes, and then Jonathan King and what he means to you guys.
Great. I think let me start with Jonathan. I just, there's a guy that continues to grow and mature, and watching guys come in from their freshman year and seeing them grow and mature year in year is a very rewarding thing as a coach, and something that I really have not got to do to this level because this is the longest that I've been at a program. And so to see these young guys develop and grow into the players that they are now today and who they are becoming as we move forward as a program is something really rewarding. I think John, just his ability to mature day in and day out and focus more on his responsibility. And we're starting to see him finally come into his own. He's one of the most talented players that we can put on the field. And I think you'll just see better and better things from John King. Things go so fast right now, and there's so many things that I'm having to take care of in terms of putting a great staff together at South Alabama and, finishing up in recruiting there and then moving into the next signing period, along with getting prepared for one of the most explosive offenses in the country. There has not been a lot of time for reflection. But that being said, this has been a very special time. And occasionally when I put my head on the pillow at night, Melissa and I get to talk a little bit of just about how special Bloomington and this program here at Indiana has been, is something that has truly shaped and changed my career. And I will always get to have these experiences, and get to reflect back on those things. To play against Ole Miss and a team that I know well and took part in some of their history and shaping that program. I think we, left it better than we found it whenever I left and after the 2013 season. And, kind of a neat thing to be able to go play those guys in a bowl game. And anytime you go back to a former stomping ground, that's always a neat thing to reflect back on. But that's the coaching profession.
All right, Stefan, wrap us up.
Kane, when we had spoken to you in the spring, before everything had shut down, you had specifically mentioned kind of using the Gator Bowl as motivation going into this season. Now, as you guys approach this game, I mean, is that something you continue to use as fuel with your defensive unit?
Yeah, I think bowl games always create great – they're an opportunity to create great momentum for your program, there are teams that are excited to be there, and there are teams that see the opportunity for what it is and what that can mean to your future as a program. You know, certainly there was an excitement in the Gator Bowl a year ago, but I think our guys understood what a win in that game would have meant. However, right, I think we used the momentum of the things that we did well, and the urgency to correct the things that we didn't, to push us on to where we are this season. We are in position as a team to create momentum with a win, and to have a bowl win in this program. And you know, you can look at the numbers and look them up yourself in terms of the last time that we won, and what that would mean to this program and its fan base and these alumni. And it's something that we all are very committed to making sure that we get accomplished on Saturday.